Wait, I'm in the wrong tab. First step is to
Hello?
Seems very janky.
no, man.
Yes. 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 Yeah.
pageant video is while we wait. The pageant officially starts until 7:15, so we've got a few minutes.
あなたの人生、せめてノーマルモードくらいはチャレンジしたら。バラ人形にバラ人形にバラ人形にゴスンゴスンゴスンクニー。いいやんさいいやんさワンツースリーワンツースリー123。いいやんさいいやんさワンツースリーワンツースリー123。いいやんさいいやんさワンツースリーワンツースリー123。アインズバイグーテンモルでいいやんいいやん
Okay. Thank you everyone for coming. It's about 7:15, so I'll get started. Welcome. This is What the Heck is Touhou? Can everybody hear me okay? This room is pretty small, so I don't think I'll actually really need the mic, but I'll move it. Yeah. Can someone close the door, please? That would be a good idea. Thank you. Hello? Sure. I'm giving him a panel right now. Yeah. Can you wait till afterward? Or do you want to do it right now? Okay. Come into LP room 4. Okay. Okay, bye. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so this panel will be sort of intro and a bit of background into what the heck Touhou is, a bit about the fandom, and it will end up with a couple memes. So if you've heard me before, then well, it won't be very much new material, but hopefully you'll still be fun, entertaining, and funny as usual. So to begin off, I think I should give some background about what anime, comics, and games are like in Japan, because how that environment and that atmosphere works really brings life into what Touhou has become. And the two terms that I'll be going over are Doujin and comiket. So Doujin means self-made work, and there are many examples of this. And in the US, you have like the Artist Alley, and that is like our version of Doujin. And in Japan, they also have Artist Alley-like events, but very often they sell books. That is the most common form of Doujin, so Doujinshi. But then they also do posters and book cards and tapestries and keychains and stuff like that. So they also have a lot of things that you see here, but it's just on a much bigger scale. There's just so many more people who do it. And there's two general types of Doujin. One is parody, where you base it off something that exists before. So like you make fun of something, and you do like fan fiction. And the other form is original. And sometimes original Doujin become really, really popular, but that is not always the case. And one of the biggest places where Doujin is sold and created for is called comiket, or comic market. It is held twice a year for 3 days, in the summer and the winter. And to get a sense of how big it is 35,000 people selling stuff. So for example, AX, Anime Expo, one of the biggest conventions in the US, only has 700. So that is like 50 times the size of Anime Expo in terms of how many people are creating stuff. About 500,000 people go there to buy and sell things over the whole weekend. And like I said before, people can sell almost anything they want. And one of the interesting myths about comiket is that, it's probably all like porn, it's all like for guys and all sketchy guys. But in reality, there's actually a lot of women and a lot of girls who go to comiket, and 70% of the participants are female, and 60% of the attendees are female. So that's something that most people won't realize unless they actually go there. And then Touhou is, as a genre, has actually become quite popular, numbering some 2,000, close to 2,000, but I would say around 2,000 circles every year, or every single comiket. And so here's a graph between 2003 and 2008 of how many circles that have participated at a comiket who have sold Touhou-related goods. And here's an example of the map from 2 years ago. And this gray section is Touhou Project. And so it's really hard to see because it's kind of blurry. But like this square right here is one circle. So right here there's 14 circles. Here's another 14. Here's another 14. Here's another 14. So like it's huge. Yeah, it's just I don't know exactly. There's like probably like 1,000 right there. So like from that red line and then down, all these people are selling Touhou goods. And if you kind of look closely at the picture, you'll see some cosplayers who are dressed up as Touhou characters. Like there's a Yuyuko down here and a Chen down there. If you know who those characters are. So, what is Touhou? For those who don't know, it is a shoot 'em up game, and I'll show a short video demo to explain how the game works. Yeah. this is from 13. So as you can see, can we reverse the lights? So turn off the ones in front and turn on the ones in the back. Is that possible? So like turn off this one. Can we do that? Yeah. Thank you. Awesome. Oh wait. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So as you can see the couple numbers on the right. Difficulty, score, lives, and bombs. Which are in the game color type scorecards. How strong your weapon is, how many items you get, which are the blue things that drop, and then grays, which I'll explain a bit later. And so you control this one character, and you try to shoot all the enemies before they kill you. And all the little white circles are bullets that if you touch, you'll die. That red line right there is called the point of collection. So if you go above the line, then you'll pick up all the power-ups and plus items on the screen. So it's something that helps you out when you're playing the game. There are two different modes when you're playing. One is the normal mode, when you're kind of just like moving around pretty fast, but then you also hold the shift key for focus, and when that happens, you'll see that you kind of go slower, and that makes it easy to dodge bullets. And it's very useful to focus whenever you need to like have some pretty tricky patterns to navigate. And then I'll mention grays. Grays is where you see you have a character sprite, which happens to be my character. And it's pretty big. It's like about that big. But actually, your hitbox is only about that big, so like 5 pixels or so. And what happens is if your bullet goes through your hitbox, through your character sprite, but not hitbox, you don't die. You don't take your grade points. So it rewards you for being really risky, basically. And then now, this is the boss for the first level. Every single boss will have special attacks that are also called spell cards. The name is right there. This is how much time it takes, or how much time you have. And then you have a health bar that goes around. And you try to kill the boss before the time runs out. And to get more bonus points. Yeah, pretty much the general basic principles of the game. Are there any questions so far? So you can see there's like a new spell card. So there's a name of the spell card up here, and then the kind of time you have to do it. That was the first level of one of the newest games. So as you can see, it's not that bad. Some people might hear that, oh my god, Touhou is like the hardest game in the world, but there are many difficulty levels, and that is like the normal mode. So it's doable. It's definitely doable. And Damaku, the genre, it means bullet curtain. So it's to show here's some examples of the harder difficulties. You don't start off like this. So once you get good at the game, then you can try these out. But when you're starting out, the normal or easy is probably the best. And every single game usually has 6 stages. At the end of every stage is a boss, so 6 bosses. And then after you beat all 6 bosses, then you'll unlock the extra stage, so 1 more boss. So usually there's about 7 bosses per game. And the creator of Touhou is pretty famous now, because he created all the games. There's 13 of them, 13 main series games, by himself. He's one person, Zun, who has a group called Team Shanghai Alice, but as far as we know, the group consists of one person, so they're pretty much synonymous. And he does all the music himself, he does all the art in the game himself, and all the programming himself. And if you read his commentary, in the little booklets that come with the game, saying, what I thought about when I programmed this game was sake and alcohol and beer all day long. So he pretty much just drinks all day, At least somebody says he does while he's making the games. So if you want to make really good games, you should probably like get drunk or something. If you want to follow the example. So the general outline for the game, story-wise, which usually is pretty simple, is usually has at least the two main characters, Hakure Reimu, who I'm dressed up as, and Marasaki Same, who is a witch. She is yellow hair and a black and white witch costume. And they live in the land of Gensokyo, which stands for Land of Illusions. And it is where all the yokai live. So in Japanese mythology, there's all these sort of demons and gods that the people used to believe in. But nowadays we have technology, we have science and iPods, and we don't really need these yokai anymore. So the storyline for Touhou is that now all the yokai go live in this place called Gensokyo. But in the middle of Gensokyo in the human world is Hakure Jinja, which is where Reimu lives, and she kind of maintains the border between the human world and the yokai world. And at the beginning of every single story, there's usually some yokai who has some evil plans to like take over the world or something, and Reimu, being like the guardian, wants to like beat them up to try to stop their plan from happening. So that's usually why Reimu goes out and in the story goes and beats up everyone in the 6 stages. On the other hand, Marasaki Same, her best friend, usually just kind of tags along and tries to just have fun, blow things up with her powerful magic, and steal things whenever she can. So she's kind of just like a happy-go-lucky person who doesn't really feel like she wants to like take care of things. And the game has quite a history now. It's been going on for like almost a decade and a half, over a decade and a half. The first games were on PC-98, which was made when Zune was in college. And those games weren't really popular because not many people know what PC-98 is. It's like this computer system they can only buy in Japan. They're like, you can't really find it here. But then he started making them on Windows. And these are all the games that people are really familiar with. Volume Scarlet Devil, Perfect Cherry Blossom, and so on and so forth. The game demo I just showed you earlier was from 10 Desires, the 13th game. And these are all really, really popular. By far the most popular one is the Scarlet Devil. And in addition to the basic types of games with 6 stages, he also has tried making some multiplayer Danmaku games, which are pretty unique because like you don't really find multiplayer, shoot 'em up games. And this one is a screenshot from 9, which is the multiplayer game. And when you shoot things on one side, it sends bullets to the other side. So you try to shoot things faster than your opponent to try to kill them. And then in addition to that, Zune has tried to experiment with different types of Danmaku games. So Aya is the main character in a series of photography games where you don't shoot bullets, but instead you take pictures, and when you take a picture, those bullets go away. So, but the problem is that the camera has a really long cooldown, so you have to be really careful when you take pictures. And then because Chirno, this blue fairy character, has been really, really popular, Zune decided to like, oh, why not? Just make a game for her as well. So she gets her own game, because she's like one of the only characters that gets her own game. Pretty special. And then along the side, for people who like fighting games, but also still want to play with like lots of pretty little girl characters, there are the fighting games by Takasakara Frontier, who works with Zune. And there's a whole series of them. And the next one is going to come out really soon, hopefully. And a lot of people are pretty excited for it. 13.5, Hopeless Masquerade. So looking forward to that. I'm not really a big fighting game person, but I know a lot of people are, so pretty excited. And then for people who maybe don't like games so much, Zune's also collaborated to write several books and manga to help elaborate the story behind the universe and the characters. So you can look for these online and in bookstores. They're a bit harder to find than normal manga, but they're really good at fleshing out the details between the universe. And if you want to read stories and don't want to play the game and die too much, then just get a book instead. So what do people like about Touhou so much? And I think there's like three to four big reasons. One is the game itself is a pretty well designed game. It's very flashy and it's really pretty. I've seen some other shoot 'em up games where like every single bullet's the same color, but like Zune does a good job of making his bullets pretty varied and interesting. And eventually get pretty hard, pretty challenging. So if you can beat like the really hard levels, then it feels like it's a pretty good sense of accomplishment for beating it. So for really hardcore game players, Touhou is a pretty good challenge for them. And then probably the easiest way for people to hear about Touhou is through the music. I played a couple of videos earlier before the panel started, and those were all songs remixes by Iosis, who also released videos along with their songs. And this was how I heard about Touhou. I heard about these songs on the comiket, if you know what that is. It's like a medley of all sorts of popular anime and game songs. I was like, what is this Touhou thing? Why does this music sound so cool? So then I checked out Touhou, and then that's how I became a Touhou fan. And a lot of people like these music circles, and it's become really, really big in Japan. There's like probably hundreds and hundreds of people making songs using the Touhou soundtrack. And Cool and Create and So Forest are two of the other circles I like, along with quite a few others. So like I showed you these earlier, so let me show them now. And Overdrive and Master Pressure thing are like have spawned a lot of mads and memes based on them. So they're pretty interesting to watch since if you haven't seen them yet. And then just the sheer number of characters. Like I said earlier, there are 13 games, and every game introduces about 6 to 7 characters, at least. And so how many does that add up to? A lot of characters. And this is only up to 12. There aren't the 13 characters here. But see it again, because it's just so cool. Yeah. So according to my friend who like went online and looked it up, there's about 140 characters in total. So yeah, with all those characters, it's not easy to say because like there might be too many, but like it's definitely it's definitely easy to find something that is unique and different. And I think to Zun's credit, he does a good job of making his character designs very varied and very different colors and very different designs. I've seen examples of where people just take rectangles and just like put like 3 colors in it, and then if you just have like red, white, red, that's me, and then you have like black, yellow, white, then that's Marisa, and just like all these characters are so different, and it's really cool how he was able to like come up with all these different designs, and all different personalities, and then so you just like look for the one you like, and then you can write all sorts of fan stories or find all sorts of fan stories about them. So there's a character for everyone in Touhou. And then finally is like the culture of Doujin, because in Japan it's really admired and really encouraged for people to make their own work. So Touhou is not a commercial project. Zun does this on his own time. He's not paid by a company to make these games, and he sells at a comic market, which is like this once, twice a year event, and he's not like he doesn't have a day job doing this. It's just a hobby. And so people who see this, like, oh wow, this is a pretty cool game. I like these characters. Why don't I draw my own comic books about these or make my own music? And then they also go sell it at these events. And then this kind of cycle, this process keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And Zun, as a Doujin artist, really encourages and appreciates this. So this is an example of the opposite of the Disney strategy, where Disney, if you go make like a Mickey Mouse tune or Mickey Mouse art and try to sell that, then they're gonna like sue you and like rob you of millions of dollars because you took their intellectual property. But Zun, on the other hand, he thinks it's really cool and great that people take his art and take his music and remix it and permutate it to make new art and new music. And so I think Touhou is like the Doujin SDK or toolkit, if people know CS, where you can just take these characters and this music and mix and match to make your own stories and make your own stuff. And so I think this back and forth between creator and producer, or creator and consumer, is something that's really admirable in the Touhou environment. So some examples of goods you can get like figures or fans or card holders and stuff. And then of course the music. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of music CDs of Touhou. Some of these circle names: Instant Key, Alashime Records, Buta Otome, Umi, and Iosis, and there's lots and lots of other ones. So I'm sure many people who play Touhou music will have probably found some Touhou circles they like. And there's really like every single genre of music represented, like techno, pop, dubstep, even rap, everything. And then, so one of the ways that Touhou can like foster its own creativity is through Nico Nico Doga. And this is also like a site where like a lot of anime fans get together and share stuff. In Japan, Doujin events are like one way to do it, but sometimes it's not enough. And Nico Doga is probably like the biggest promoter of fan-made works like music and videos, and it's pretty much like the Japanese YouTube. But what's so cool about it is that Touhou has become so big that it has its own category on Nico Nico Doga. Under anime, games, and drawing, you have the Touhou category, along with Idol Master and some other stuff, which are not as important. And then what's an example of some of the pretty popular videos that have showed up on YouTube? I mean, sorry, not YouTube, on Nico Nico Doga.
You want to know as well, but
Where is it? So before the earthquake, this was the most popular video. But it is now the second most popular video on Nico Nico Doga. So popular, in fact, that people start making all sorts of, their own permutations of this video.
CNN.
So that was Bad Apple and a bunch of other videos that were based on Bad Apple. It was compiled by my friend Brian, so yeah. It's a really influential and popular video. And as you can see, it is the second most popular video on Nico Nico Doga. And I'll show you a short clip of the third most popular video, but like, I won't play it for very long because it's really annoying. So
So this is also a song, or not really a song, but like a bunch of noise based on the soundtrack to Flounder's theme from Embodiment Scarlet Devil. It is the extra stage of the 6th game, and you can pretty much see they took McDonald's ads and remixed it.
Okay, that's done. Okay, we're done. So, and then I showed you earlier Trina's Perfect Math class. Okay. So yeah, there's a bunch of really popular Touhou videos on Nico Nico Doga, and you can surf around, find a bunch of them. And the ones that get really popular become, memes, and you'll probably have heard of Ron and McRoll before. So that's where it comes from. And then there's another sort of sub-genre of videos online, and it is MMD videos. MMD stands for Miku Miku Dance. It's a software originally made to make Vocaloid PVs, promotional videos. But nowadays people have Touhou models, and these have also become pretty popular as well. So MMD is a pretty big community now, and so there are competitions called MMD Cup every year for people to make videos with the software MMD. And the Touhou ones do pretty well. Usually not that many of them. So here's some examples of them. In this video, the idea is that if you laugh, you get -points. this is some example of MMV videos that people have made. And then, well, I kind of mentioned this earlier, but like, Nico Nico Doga has, while being a really good place to share videos, has become very unfriendly to like MADs or AMVs made with like commercial video clips, you know, from anime that are airing like Naruto or Gundam or whatever. And so something that Touhou was really awesome about is that it's completely Doujin. It's completely free, pretty much. It's not tied to a commercial company. And so when people make VADs of it, it's totally fine. And Doujin really likes it. People make stuff based on its characters. But you know, Nico Nico Doga has been taking down all sorts of videos based on like, you know, K-On! Or Naruto or Gundam, like all these commercial series. And so I feel like in order to, you know, really promote your work, you really need to allow people to create and permute, you know, your characters and stuff. Otherwise, you know, it'll just like die off once your anime stops airing. And so I think Touhou has a really long lifetime ahead of it because Zoom really encourages people to create more stuff with its characters. And I feel like these companies are always losing out because whenever the company takes down another video, that's pretty much taking out like free advertising for their, you know, stories and characters. So and that's something that, you know, I think that all these companies are thinking about it the wrong way. And whereas Doujin is, you know, a much better like formula. And then Pixiv is sort of like the Japanese DeviantArt. And you know, it's sort of like a good way to gauge, you know, how interested people are in different drawings characters to draw. And Touhou is the #1 tag. Here's Chirino and Reimu, you know, two of the most popular characters. And then to see like an idea of like top tags, there's Touhou, original, you know, R18 adult stuff, sketches, manga, all in all cool. And then the second most popular one, but like at 7th place, is Italia. So all those. And then DL and Pokemon. And you know, Touhou is just like by far the most popular category on the Japanese internet. And then, in addition to like, you know, videos and music, there's also fan games. So like there's TashCon, where you control little dolls that are basically little characters. You're trying to defend the Tasha-based bookcase. You have Super Mario World, which is like based on Super Mario. And you have Touhou, which is, you know, Pokemon but with Touhou, which is awesome. And then a pretty popular game is Commercialization, which is also known as Castlevania, which is based on Castlevania. And this is pretty popular because of the character designs. If you go around cons these days, you'll probably very likely see somebody dressed up like this. And these are show characters that were all designed by Banpei Akira, who is the illustrator for the series. The company is called Frontier Aja, or Circle. And it's actually an official English patch for it. So if you find it online, then you know you should really get it, you know, with English. And it's a pretty cool game. Very well designed. And then people can make fan anime for Touhou. There are 3 episodes planned, but only 2 of them are released so far. And you know, it's pretty well done. There's a lot of really good voice actors in it. But you know, it's not commercial, but you know, it's not all about the fans' effort, fans' energy, and the fans' spirit when they make Touhou works. And then there's also a whole convention devoted just to Touhou. Whereas comiket is like, you know, you sell anything. You sell BL, you sell Hitalia, you sell Tiger Bunny, you sell Touhou. Reijai Sai is a convention just about Touhou. And it takes up about 1/3 the size of comiket. But only for 1 day. So it is pretty big, about over 1,000 circles. And it's so popular that in fact they have to hold it twice a year, once in spring and once in fall. And it is now one of the biggest places where you can find full goods in Japan. The biggest events. But as you know, Touhou has become pretty popular, there have been some issues with like the over commercialization of it. Because like nowadays companies, they start like thinking like, oh, you know, Touhou is this free Doujin thing. I can like build stuff, make stuff without paying royalties, right? And so, you know, people start like making Touhou goods for like everything. And you know, there's some sort of, you know, kind of a problematic issue when you're like pretty much pushing money. And so Zoom has kind of acknowledged this, and now he asks that, you know, any commercial company please, you know, talk to him and make sure, you know, they work on an agreement. And Doujin stuff cannot be sold commercially through commercial channels. And ideally, he doesn't like it when people sell stuff on Xbox 360, Indie Channel, or Android App Store, stuff like that. So to create things in more places, but right now he kind of discourages that sort of creation. And then lastly, to lighten up the panel a bit, let's talk about some memes about Touhou, because everyone who knows Touhou knows a couple memes. So the first one, most popular, one of the most well-known is "Yukishite," which means take it easy, and this comes from an ASCII art drawing that somebody posted on a bulletin board service where you can't do pictures, but you instead do text. And so they're trying to draw a picture of the April and Maya using text. And unfortunately, they kind of turned out big, chubby-ish, overly big. And the person after him said, you should take it easy, that was good effort. And so those two, the picture and the saying, have become, fused together into a meme. And now, Touhou fans all over the place say you should take it together. And as well, the faces themselves have now become their own, character in the Touhou fandom. And Yukidis, as they're called, now have people, drawing art based on Yukidis, and they have their own, ecosystem and ecology and all sorts of other stuff. I heard that they're filled with jellyfish. So, Shirno, one of the most popular characters, she's even on her own game. She's famous because she is known to be very stupid. How stupid does it take to be known as stupid? This is how stupid. So this is Chirno's stage in Touhou 6. And this is the spell card called Ice Cold Fall. And as you can see, kind of just stand in front of her and she'll get you. Move, Asuka Fall, and people started playing on this and calling her stupid and baka and everything. And then Zoom later on, when in a instruction manual for his game, said, okay, well, you have this new game and you can play as the second player, player 1, player 2, and this one, instead of being labeled like computer player, he just called baka, which is stupid. So now baka and 9 are all the same thing for each other.
Is it supposed to be I, the strongest?
I am.
That's the English that's the English romanization of.
You should put it on there.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'm the strongest.
Yeah. So her most popular saying is "I'm the strongest," which is ironic because she's kind of the stupidest. But it's in English we translate that as I E-like. Let's change that. So yeah. So. She's, very, very popular and pretty much the clown of Touhou. Pretty much. And then so people also make manzai comedies based on Touhou characters. And this is where the Chen meme came from. I think a bit of time, so I'll play a little bit of it. So this is manzai comedy, which is very popular in Japanese comedy, where you have more allies on the pool.
はいどうもこんにちはヤクモチェンです。じゃあ練習しよう。はい今からいぶきスイカに化けるから、うまく追い返してね。任せてください。にゃー怖いなゆかり様が起きちゃうでしょ。あ行っちゃったチェーン行っちゃったチェーン言わなきゃ。はい家を通過する前に追い返さなきゃ。追い返すちゃんと言うんだよ。はい次はにゃーうるさいわね。うるさいぞー。あ行っちゃった言った今。言いましたよ。言ったんだ。はい言いました。わかったわかった。チェーンはあれだ。何ですか。KC だ。KC って何ですか。声がちっちゃい KC だ。KC ですよ。完璧な KC じゃん。KC 嫌です。嫌でしょ。ちゃんとやりましょう。はいにゃーうるさいな。うるさ
very, very popular. Nowadays, so if you guys have gone on some cons before, you might have noticed that like sometimes people have web streams, like Nico Nico Doga will come along and have like a camera that they just like have live stream of the convention. And every time like 10 cosplayer walks by, all the comments go, Chat! Yeah, it's pretty noticeable. And sometimes it makes me feel bad for whoever's in front of the camera, because like the people are interviewing, the person standing there, like, oh, you know, what's your name, you know, what's your favorite anime, and then like in the background, this tiny little cat walks by, and then all the comments go, Chat! I kind of feel bad for the person in front. It's unfortunate. And then another pretty awesome name is Shamimaru. So this is a drama skit by Sakenya. Basically, so like in Japan, sometimes instead of selling like books or videos, they just sell like audio. So it's just a CD where people just talk and like make jokes at each other. And so this is a drama skit released by Sakenya, which is it's a music circle in Japan that does Touhou, merchandise and fan fiction and stuff. So this is called Gensoku Kono.
それでは毎年恒例カラステングによる新聞大会において最優秀賞を獲得いたしました社名丸彩さんよりご挨拶がございます。どうも、ただいまご紹介に預かりました社名丸。どうも、喋ってもいいですか？ご紹介に預かりました社名丸綾でございます。さて、私めがこの度の賞を授かるにあたり、まずは取材に協力していただいた幻想郷の幻想郷の方々にこの場を借りて深く感謝いたします。協力といってもむしろ私の方が勝手に取らせてもらったんですけどね。今日は取材じゃないんですから答えてくれなくても結構ですから。はい。まあそんなわけで数々の紆余曲折を経て無事発行と相なったブンブン丸新聞。特に印象に残っておりますのがコーマ館のポチンと名部長である伊沢作也さんの密着取材をさせていただいている時にまず向かったのが白玉楼じゃないですよ。もっと森の方の高林堂。あの時私も取材に使っているペンを店主の森近凛之介さんに見繕っていただきまして、その後に続けて買い出しに向かったんですよ。私も気分が良くてですね、メイド長ともう一人その時ちょうど高林堂に訪れていたユアキュンは私はこの間歌ったな。サガ変更だ。サガと歌いがリグルはまあほっといていいかな。白岩さんってどこの白岩さんだこの野郎。焼き鳥すっぱ変更だ。焼き鳥とか言うのはかわいそうだろお前は。聞くのもバカ野郎。おおマリサ近いよマリサ近いよ。すっぱ天候だ。天候違うよ。チェンかけてな。ひなってそれは誰かさんだな。どこの誰だお前は。稲葉のライトツ松葉ウルトラソウで言わすんじゃないよそういうこと。小町スケベ DVD を一つ。うるさいよさっきからしゃスケベ DVD ギャラどこのあるだ会話するなお前ら。その痛みに反逆してろよ。10ドルじゃないよ。コーヒー代会話すんなお前ら。よく聞け蓬莱にいて俺は蓬莱品ではない。R ボインってボインなんだ。見る母音から離れろ。スケベ DVD うるさいのさっきから。デリバルコーナーってなんだもう。メソウサ関係ないな。超必殺技いい加減黙れよお前ら。真空片手ごまもうバカだなお前ら。幻想郷だよ。石鹸や頭を使えよこの野郎。おいもうないんか。神社どこの神社。白麗。おし白麗。そう白麗。よしじゃあまとめて言うとせーの白麗。はい いちいち合いの手入れられるとね調子狂っちゃうんですよ。
この出てるスケベ DVD
もうやめて。
スケベ DVD とスケベ DVD
このスケベ DVD つまみ出せこの野郎。うわスケベ DVD 野郎バカにしてんのか。取材とは命をかけた弾幕である。
社名丸
もううるさいうるさいよ。
こと言えと社名丸は向こうでテニスをしています。
このような光栄な賞をいただいたわけですが、まだまだ未熟者の私です。
未熟者目が
天狗の身でございますが、くれぐれも天狗にならないよう、これからもどうか末永くご指導ご鞭達のほどをよろしくお願いいたします。かの有名な武道の達人で天狗の面をつけたミスタートラック正解社名丸
社名丸おつれー。いやー今のいいの取れたね絶対。いやーまさかそこでベニマルコレナが出てくるのは俺は思わなかった。奇跡だね。あやちゃんちょっとお茶。
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna ask that. I thought wondered for a long time now. What is the deal with the Sinsack guys? Like, where do they come from, and why do they?
They're just sort of like, so like you've got all these girls in the game, right? Like most of the almost every single character is a girl, and well, most of the fans are guys. A lot of fans are guys, but there's also a lot of girls who like Touhou as well. And so Sinsack's kind of represent like all like the sketchy people who like the series for things that you shouldn't talk about in front of kids. And so the like
Of course, I've known it Jay for one time on the internet, so I cosplay as Ed. This is my second Touhou cosplay. Where I'm gonna do it again on Sunday. I've been all around SoccerCon, AX, here ALA, and just this past TMX. And just making sure I don't get in the way of Kaguya and Moko too.
so yeah, Moko likes to get in fights with. Okay, Moko. How about say a fact about your character in terms of Touhou, so people get to know the character better.
Sup, I'm Moko. I'm immortal, don't fuck with me.
She's based on the Phoenix, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay, basically, my father was shamed by Kaguya because she wouldn't marry him. I don't particularly want Kaguya as my mother, but, didn't help that he was crying all the time. So, I stole the elixir of life from the Emperor, and I drank it, and it's not all glamorous, because, when you think about it, absolutely nothing can kill me, so when the world ends, I'm basically going to be floating in space, head of floating. What is it?
You're gonna keep exploding. Explode and respawn.
And Kaguya is going to be the only other one there. Wonderful. Well, basically, I exist to kill her over and over again, because she can't die either. And, yeah, my best friend is Paige. She runs a school in the village. It's, 2 kids when they're not doing a boat. And, yeah. Yeah, if you want any more information, my blog is not much. And she's a pirate. Fire!
You smoke. I smoke weed every day.
Depends, are you a cop?
No.
Okay, cop.
Do I
Is
look
that
like a cop too?
or is
Not drunk cop. I could be an FBI agent.
exactly. You can't be too careful.
Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Hey.
We have another Marisa as well. We have another Marisa as well. Guy Marisa.
Mandarin.
I'm Kazumi. I usually go as a gender bent version of Touhou. So there's actually another meme with Marisa where she's known as a troll Marisa, where she's actually buff. Talking like Kenshiro style. So So I do actually gender bent versions, and this particular one is actually a warfighter version. So it's kind of militaristic. I have this badge actually designed after a U.S. Common Access card badge that the military uses. The Hakero, which is Mariusa's weapon, I made a kind of a tactical version, so you can see that there's these stripes, and you turn it on. And there's the cow, and a little lanyard. Mariusa is known to she's known to be the thief, and in which I kind of use to my advantage, but at the same time too, I like to essentially overpower things in the story. If anyone knows her master spark is just one giant floodlight beam of death. Yes.
I would be too.
Yes. Love that film.
I told you. I stole it.
My other cosplay I plan to do is the Jennifer version of Sakia, and hopefully a Jennifer version of Touhou.
Suka.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, I'm Suika, and I'm an alcoholic.
That's what that is.
Basically. So, I'm an Oni, and I drink all the stuff, and, yeah, look at my sways. Look at that sway. You play SWR? You know the sway. Also, you know the fuck you game, the fireball? Yeah, I do that too. So, yeah, I don't know what to say, so you can ask me a question. Question? Oh? What? Yeah, I should fill the holes, you get sucked into them, and that's where the fuck you be. I put like my chain and the big rock thing, and then I get all like big.
You like to laze about and mooch at Rainbow Shrine, don't you?
I don't really mooch. It's more like Rainbow gives me everything. Rainbow's really cool. We're like big old bros and stuff, right? Right.
My wallet.
What wallet?
You're gonna live in a shack, dude. You're gonna live in a shack.
I live in a shack?
Yeah.
Is that what you tell people? I thought what the thing was like your room and you sleep in a shack. So you tell people to save your own skin.
Oh no, man! I mean,
That's
last I
cool.
heard it was coming from that Kiki Mori Patsy.
Patchy doesn't know anything. She stays in her library.
Yeah.
Slap her up.
So,
Any other questions? Yes.
So, the wort that you drink from, is it a particular brand, and is it a never-ending supply?
So far it's proven it's never ending supply. I poured myself a full, like, cosplays getting all. Anyways, I poured myself a full bottle and it hasn't run out yet, and I've been drinking all day. So, that's cool. But, yeah, it was, I can tell you how I made it too, but it's got a lot in there. So, I guess you could say it's never ending. Is that your only question?
Oh yeah, what brand was it?
Brand? I think it was Gekicam. It's alright, it's kind of cheap, but you know. Since I'm poor because no money! Your fault! Your fault.
I'm pretty sure you just scare everyone away when you turn big.
Yes?
What happened if you drink that and it turns out it's too good? Gives you energy, dude.
No, I need sake. Sake is an energy. Any other questions?
Okay, well,
No.
we're almost done. Does anybody else want to talk about the character?
I'll like walk back.
Volunteer?
Sway. Sway.
Only if you want to. You don't have to come up if you don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want to come up, then come up. And just talk about your character, say something about it. Don't worry about it, okay. Well then, it's about time, yeah. Okay.
Go to Denny's.
Thank you everyone!
Yay! I'm starving.
Russell, are you gonna join the Touhou dinner?
The Touhou dinner?
Yeah. We're
Maybe.
going to Denny's right now. Yeah, if you wanna meet, you wanna go there. Dinner. Drink sake.